Hey there, it's Jamie again, and I'm here to do the last video that I've got planned for Chapter 3. And here we're going to look at two of my favorite visualization tools, Heatmaps and Sparklines. These two tools can show you quickly about trends in data and the magnitude of changes. So for instance, this table that we have contains store sales changes over a period of 12 months. And what it does is it tells us whether sales have increased since the previous month in a given store or decreased, and if so, what the magnitude of that change is. So for here, if we just take a look at that highlighted cell, that negative 2% in January for St. Louis, that tells us that sales in St. Louis declined that month by 2%. This is a lot of data to take in, but there's a lot of information here. We just need a way to make it accessible quickly to our brains. And heat maps are one way of doing this thing. To create a heat map, we highlight the data that we're interested in, and then under the Home tab, we come back to conditional formatting. From the conditional formatting drop-down menu, we're going to look at color scales. And I'm going to just select this blue, white, red color scale, although you can pick any one that you want. And when I select it, you can see immediately that patterns in the data begin to make sense. Areas in which sales declined in a given month are marked in red, and it becomes easy to quickly identify the areas that had the most rapid declines in sales, right? Here we see Miami. Areas where sales are increasing are represented in blue, and it's easy to see sales in areas. It's easy to identify the areas in which sales are rapidly increasing, like we see in Austin or here in Atlanta. So the heat map allows us to identify where the magnitude of change is largest and what that direction of change is. It's also useful to see trends, and something we can insert to look at trends are things called sparklines. Sparklines basically provide a small line graph for each row in a table. So I'm going to come here and highlight the area in which I'd like the sparkline to appear. Then under the Insert tab, I'm going to come over and select Sparklines. And in this case, you could have a column chart or a win-loss column, but I just want to see a line. I want to see the trend. And by combining that trend with the magnitudes included in the heat map, can make it a little bit easier to visually see. So the data range for the sparkline is where the data is, the data are, and then by highlighting these cells, it knows where I wanted to place the sparklines, and I'll hit OK. And we'll see a small line graph for each of those trends. So here we can look for areas where sales are increasing, or where the pattern is upward. So the pattern in St. Louis is upward. They went from a monthly decline of 2% to an increase in 8%. So we can see both the trend and the magnitude of the change. In Austin, while they're increasing in sales, that pattern is an up-down pattern. So it gives us information on both the direction of change and the magnitude of change. And it changes a table that can be hard to visualize or hard to understand into something that's really easy to make sense of. So let me know if you have any questions, and happy calculating.